Hey there viewers, and welcome back to the Florida Two-Wheel Adventure Channel. I'm out today on the 1996 Suzuki Intruder VS1400. It's a classic muscle cruiser from the 1990s. And these motorcycles are making quite the comeback in recent years. And this example that I'm riding on today is a beautiful motorcycle. The motorcycle has 24,652 miles on it. I love roundabouts. I love it when people are just sitting at roundabouts too, not going. I'd like to find the guy that came up with the roundabout, beat bloody and then drag him a roundabout. Well, that sounded kind of violent. This video just took a dark turn. Back to the bike. In the 1990s, actually, in the late 1980s, Suzuki set its eyes on the Harley Davidson market. There were quite a few people who were buying the Harley Sportsters. That was a market the Japanese motorcycle makers wanted to get in on. And you had the Honda Shadows, the Kawasaki Vulcans, I believe. Suzuki came out with this Intruder. And I'm sure Yamaha had something. I'm guessing maybe the Virago. But in my opinion, nobody did it as well as Suzuki with this motorcycle. Introduced in about 1986 in the United States, the Suzuki Intruder came out in two variations. A VS1400 and its smaller brother, the VS700. The 700 would later go through a couple of different iterations. It would become the 750 and then later the 800, which the 800 stuck around for a while. In fact, I don't think it was until 1997 that Suzuki introduced the 5-speed. This bike, being a 1996, is a 4-speed. That's one of the reasons that this motorcycle doesn't get ridden like my other ones do. There are two main gripes that I have with this motorcycle. The first being that the gas tank is small. You can get about 110 miles out of a tank. The other gripe that I've got with this motorcycle is the 4-speed transmission. I had previously owned a 1998 and it had a 5-speed. This bike is all original and the chrome still looks very good. The paint is suffering a little bit. The gas tank has got a couple of dents in it. But performance-wise, this motorcycle runs phenomenally. A lot of people will buy these motorcycles and they'll make them into bobbers. To those people, I say you should be ashamed of yourself. I absolutely hate it when I see people make these motorcycles into a bobber. I'm going to pass this vehicle. It doesn't have a lot of top-end speed. It will top out at about 110 miles an hour. You should only see that speed on a track, of course. I would never condone somebody going that fast on the road, a public highway. It takes a while to get up to that speed anyway. But it's very fun to ride. It's got a simple speedometer, shows the speed, mileage, and a trip odometer. That's it. There's nothing adjustable up front with the suspension. The rear does have adjustable preload, but that's it. Just listen to that. My motorcycle here has got aftermarket exhaust pipes. It's got Jardine drag pipes. But I took the baffles out of each of the pipes and I installed Big City Thunder monster baffles in the mine. Running this audio is not going to be the best because it's going just through the GoPro. But let me quit talking for a minute. Let's get a little walk around of the bike. So it's got a soft tail look to it. The shocks are 13.5 inches stock. It makes for a very comfortable ride for a person probably upwards of 6 foot with the stock controls. Now you can go aftermarket and put forward controls on it. You can also do like I have done and add highway bars, highway pegs to it, which allow you to stretch out a little bit when you're cruising. That helps. I'm only about 5'10", so I don't have any problem with the motorcycle the way that it is. I just like to be able to stretch out, so the highway pegs took care of that problem for me. But really the beauty of this bike is that 1400cc V-twin chromed out engine. The radiator up front, that is an oil cooler. The bike is air cooled with an oil cooler. And you got chrome all around. So the 1400 and the 800 dimensionally are about the same. There is, to me, a noticeable difference when you're sitting on the two motorcycles. The 800 is a little bit more cramped. It's not much. I would have to look up the specs to see what the differences are. The 800, however, because it's a lighter motorcycle, is actually a little bit faster off the line than the 1400. Now the 800 does happen to peter out a little bit sooner than the 1400 does, so the 1400 will overtake the 800. It's close, but all things being equal, you put the bike side by side, the 800 is going to be a little bit faster than this off the line. My second 1400, and I've owned two of the 800s. You're not going to go wrong with either bike. The 800 is water cooled, so you do have a full-size radiator up front. And that's the quickest way to spot the difference when you're looking at these two bikes. You park them side by side, you really can't tell any difference looking at them, but that radiator versus the oil cooler is a dead giveaway. Before that security guard has a hissy fit, I'm going to just take off here. The ignition switch for it is down here by your left leg. Turn it on. You have to pull the clutch in on these motorcycles to start it. So if you try to start it without the clutch pulled in neutral, you're going to hear the fuel pump. Well, this bike's been running, so the bowls are full. But if your bike's been sitting, you leave it in neutral, don't touch the clutch, and you press and hold down the starter button, and you'll hear the pump activating and filling up the float bowls. Then after that's done, pull the clutch, start the bike. Starts right up. I've never tried the horn on this. Not too bad. Alright, slow speed maneuvers are not too hard on the bike. It handles very well. It's very nimble for the bike that it is. I want to include what that security guard was saying to me, but I don't have his permission to put them on the internet, so I probably won't do it. I might blur it out though. However, he told me he doesn't ride motorcycles. He gave them up when he was a young man because his friend got decaffeinated. That's old man talk for decapitated. Oh, so I should mention that one of the other things that I've done to this bike is I replaced the computer control box, the CDI, the electronic ignition box. I replaced it on this with an aftermarket one made by Dynatech. And that allows you to do two main things. It changes the RPM range for one. The other thing that you can do is you can change the rev limiter. of the Suzuki Intruder motorcycles. There, ladies and gentlemen, is a new Dollar General. We've got a Dollar General about every 3 miles up and down this road. If you like this video, if you found it informative, go ahead and smash that like button. And if you would, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe. Alright folks, that's all I got. Thanks for watching.